Yo, what is up you guys? Welcome back to another vlog, and in today's video I want to talk about the importance of dressing well. It is dressing well that has completely changed the trajectory and direction of my life. For most guys, it's starting out with the gym or getting into some kind of side hustle and then using those vehicles to get into other aspects of self-improvement. And in my case, it was fashion. So it all started in middle school when I started to care about the sneakers that I wanted to wear. I started wanting to get into the sneaker game, and eventually I got into clothing. I started learning how to dress well. I started off with streetwear, and then I eventually branched out and started to develop my own palette as I played with the clothes that I was just buying from H&M. And once I got good at dressing well, I started curating my own presence throughout high school. People would start coming up to me, complimenting me about my outfits, or they would start asking me, hey, where did you get your clothes? Or even the little things that clothing has branched off into. It's no longer the clothes that they were asking me about. They're asking me, hey, where do you get your haircuts? Where do you get your watches from? You know, how do those clothes fit? What sizes do you wear? Things like that. It started escalating. And with that new, I guess you could say, status and being known for dressing well, I was treated very differently. And that's where I noticed the benefits of dressing well. I just wasn't being bullied anymore like I was in middle school. I was being respected. People saw me differently. They addressed me differently. I would get compliments. I wouldn't have to walk up to people anymore. People would just come to me. So I noticed the power in dressing well, and that didn't just apply in school. That applied pretty much anywhere that I went, even in public, right? Like during high school, what was it? Like the mall, right? When I would go out to the mall, I would be seen more. I would be noticed. And with all of this, it basically just catapulted my interest for self-improvement. So once I got into fashion and once I started getting good at it, it made me want to get into the gym so I could fit into my clothes nicer. I wanted a more model frame so I can have that look, right? And then eventually I got into entrepreneurship to be able to afford the clothes during high school. And yeah, that's basically a little short story about me and how all of this came together. And that has translated to everything in my life up to this day. So presenting yourself well is very important because it changes the way people perceive you, and it also changes the way that you perceive yourself. You start to love yourself more. You start to be more confident. You start to enjoy your own palette. You realize that it's okay to be you. It's okay to have your own preference. It's okay to stand out. It's a confidence builder. So that's why I think dressing well and curating your own image is very, very important. And once you're able to get the basics down, you could translate that skill set into the professional workspace. I learned how to dress well, not just casually, but for work. Looking cleaned up, showing up to work in a nice suit or polo or whatever it is your workplace requires, right? It's always important to dress well, look cleaned up. It shows more about you as a person. It shows that you care for yourself. You have proper hygiene. You don't want to come sloppy, because first impressions matter, especially in the workplace life. If you want a successful interview, or if you want to make a splash of an impression on your first day at work, these things matter. It's not the only thing that matters, because obviously it's an entire package, right? It's the way you dress, it's the way you walk and carry yourself, it's the way you communicate, and just your demeanor. There's a numerous amount of factors, but dressing well has a very high impact on the way people address you, how serious they will take you, and if they even want to listen to you. Because unfortunately, we do live in a world where people judge from face value. So if you want to be listened to right away, you want to be taken seriously, you have to dress well and present yourself nicely. Now, how do you dress well? It starts off with the basics. Number one, you have to go to the store or the mall, whatever, and you have to start playing with garments. You have to start trying things on. No matter how an influencer dices fashion content online, whether it's through Instagram Reels or YouTube, buy this, buy that, it is never going to fully work because it's cookie cutter. It's not you. You have to play with what you like, what you don't like, what fits well with you, what goes with your skin complexion. Those are the things that you have to start playing with. I'm not saying you're going to figure it out right away, but you have to start experimenting, trial and error, because that's how you translate your personality into the fabrics. You can't just watch YouTube and you can't just watch Instagram and just, follow these buy tutorials, because it's very cookie cutter. You have to cater to the way things fit on your body, your personality, your archetype, and the way that you want to present yourself, the way you want to be perceived by the public. Okay? Like for me, when I first started in fashion, it was streetwear, because that was like the cool thing in high school. Like I loved getting my Jordans, I loved the Yeezys, I loved my Off-White shoes. I still have a pair of Off-White sneakers, but that was the realm that I was in, because that was the audience that I wanted to attract to an extent. That was kind of my vibe. And eventually, as I matured and I got into the professional workspace, I wanted to position myself as not only someone who looks very corporate, but also very entrepreneurial. So I had to change up my style. So now I wear more reserved clothing, I wear more classy wear, things that are more subtle. The second thing that you could do to increase your image almost instantly is just going to the barbershop and getting the right haircut. I see too many guys who say that they want to be entrepreneurs or they want to be businessmen. They say that they want to be taken seriously, but then they'll get a very, very off-putting haircut. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You probably know what I mean, but there's those unconventional haircuts like, drop fades with the mullet and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with those haircuts, but if you're telling me that you want to be perceived as an entrepreneur, you want to be seen as professional, you have to get the right haircut for you. So it takes time, it's a lot of trial and error, but play around, pull up a few haircuts that you see on Google or Instagram, whatever you find inspiration from, and show it to your barber, and make sure that he takes that haircut and applies it to your head shape, and make sure that it's tailored to the texture of your hair. These are the things that you have to account for, and these are the things that no fashion YouTuber is telling you. All of this stuff is tailored. Now, the third thing that I recommend to improve your overall looks, your appearance, is something that I actually should have said from the very beginning of the video, because all of these pieces of advice that I'm giving you works, but they will work so much better if you follow this piece of advice, which is to get into shape. Now, I know it's not the most ideal answer. You've probably heard this multiple times, but it really is the truth. Clothes will look so much better on you when you are in shape. You'll have a wider range of selection if you are in shape, because when you're a little bit more bulky, if you're a little bit more on the heavier side, I'm not gonna lie, it's very hard to be able to walk anywhere and buy a nice set of clothes. A lot of the clothes today, especially in fast fashion, cater more towards people who have my body frame, right? You can get away with being skinny fat, but you can't get away if you're more on the bulkier side. The ideal median is to be, slim but have a decent build, kind of like the model physique. That would be ideal. I'm not saying you have to, but you do have more wide range of selection when you're on the slimmer side. So point is, just get into shape. It just makes choosing clothing so much easier. It looks better on you. And even your face, when it tones down a little bit and has more definition, that just adds to your look, right? And even just being healthy, it gives you a lot of credibility. People sense the discipline in you when they see someone that's well put together and fit. The fourth piece of advice that I could give you into improving your looks, the way you dress, is to go the exact opposite the herd goes. So when everybody wants to wear Yeezys, when everyone wants to wear the Nike SBs, you run the opposite way. You stick to your white leather sneakers, you stick to your loafers, you stick to the more reserved stuff. The reason why I say do the opposite is because that is how you stand out. When everybody else is trying to chase the hot thing, and even if they could pull it off, they are trend followers. You want to be either a trendsetter or you want to be timeless. The key to standing out and being seen is by doing things different or doing things better than most people. Now, I wear very plain and simple clothes, but that is exactly why I stand out, because I approach the less is more method. A lot of people my age, because I'm 22 years old, a lot of people my age will go for the branded stuff. They'll want to stamp the designer on their shirts, their pants, their sneakers. They want the backpack with the logo. They want all the crazy things. For me, I want the most reserved clothing as possible. I hate logos. I hate anything with too much pattern. I hate things that have too much going on. I literally want to keep it so damn basic, but that's exactly why I have that pull factor. That's why the crowd gravitates towards me, because I keep things so simple and I'm easy on the eyes. And on top of that, another hack with this too is that because people are so used to seeing you in such, I guess you could say, basic clothing, such simple clothing, when you do decide to put on that piece with a little bit more flair, it has more presence because people know that's something that you usually don't do. So people pay attention to these details. Now, the fifth and final point of improving your image is to look at everything as a whole. Do not limit your scopes to exactly what you're wearing, what clothes you have on, or strictly what accessories you're wearing. You have to look everything from a macro view. How do you look put together? Everything, your haircut, the accessories you wear, your clothing, does it match your personality? Does it match with the way you walk, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate? Is it expressive to who you are? This takes a little bit more time. It's really curating your palette, and it's your personal brand essentially. So that is easier said than done. It does take time, but that's the one missing ingredient in most people's, I guess you could say, fashion game. You could see it in other people. Like, you could tell that they're trying, you could tell that they have the right garments on, but there's still something missing. And that's why, because they're not looking at it at a macro perspective. That's why it doesn't look put together. That's why it doesn't look congruent, right? Every single thing has to line up. It's about the entire package as a whole. And that's not something I can teach you directly. It's just something that you have to get good at learning through trial and error. If you guys do want a little reference on how I dress, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at It's Josh Valerin, or you could look at some of my older YouTube videos related to fashion. That way you could kind of get a glimpse with the way I think when it comes to clothing selection, if you do like my style and the way I present myself. And yeah, that's all I really have for you guys today. It's very important to dress well. It can definitely make a huge impact with the way people see you, the way people treat you, whether that is in the professional workspace, trying to get a job, trying to get a promotion, or just in your personal space. You want to make more friends, you want to be seen more in public, you want a better dating life. It helps. So yeah, that's all I really have for you guys in today's YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I haven't done a fashion vlog in a while, so I definitely had fun making this. And yeah, if you found value in this, please feel free to like and subscribe. This channel is not just limited to fashion. We talk all things self-improvement and entrepreneurship related, anything in that world. But until then, hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next vlog.